After inspecting this house, how would you rate it out of 10, 10 being the highest score?
Probably a 4 if you're lucky.
And what were the areas that needed to be adjusted?
First one is your draft control. You had big gaps around your doors, I can see daylight on your front door, your cat flap. Your rooms weren't sealed, and you had also air ingress coming in around your sliding doors, and that allowed cold air to come in winter, and that's going to affect your heating. So that'll be the first point. The second one is the 60 odd halogens you've got in the ceiling. Means that any heat that you've got in the room is going to disappear up the vents around each of those halogens, because you've got 60 little chimneys there. And as I demonstrated with the incense trick, when you've got those halogens on, hot air rises, it's heating the air, and it's actually got 60 little vacuums that are taking the heat straight out of your ceiling and into your ceiling cavity. Yes, they're bad for 3 reasons. One is people think that because they're low voltage, they're low power. They aren't. Typical halogen in the ceiling will draw 55 watts, and typically in one of your rooms alone you had 6 set up. 6 halogens drawing 330 watts is more power than a double par 38 floodlight sitting outside in your garden. It's ridiculous for that amount of power to heat one room, to light one room. You can retrofit with LED, you can retrofit with 20 watt IRC halogens, which will cut your power down. LED will cut it down to 1/50th of the power, 1-2 watts. The 20 watts will cut it down to 1/3. However, you've still got that chimney action that's happening, and that's causing a heat loss. And the heat loss is actually reflecting in your gas bills, and you're spending more on gas than what you are on electricity in winter. Yep, if you have surface mounted track GU10 fittings, that's far more efficient because you're sealing those holes up. You haven't got any holes in the ceiling to allow heat to escape into your cavity space. There are some new ones out now that are extremely bright. I saw one the other day which was as bright as a 50 watt halogen. It was brilliant.
What's the approximate price on those?
About $75 at the moment, but they are going to come down. Smart meters are going to be interesting. People are complaining at the moment because it's going to cost them $70 for the rental or to pay for the smart meter, but it's much more fundamental than that. What's going to happen is that you'll get a thing called interval metering happening. Currently, like on a 40-degree day, when the generators are charging the retailers $10,000 a megawatt because there's high demand, the retailers can't pass that charge on to you because they meter you every 90 days and they don't know how much power you're using on that particular day. With smart meters, they'll be able to meter you every 30 minutes and they will know how much power you're using at those particular times. And if you've got a 35 square McMansion with a 4 kilowatt refrigerated air conditioner sitting on the roof and you've got to cool the whole 35 squares because you haven't zoned the house, it's going to cost you $40 an hour to run it. The other thing that will happen with smart meters as well is what's called intelligent load shedding. Currently in summer, when you get high demand, they were switching off whole suburbs to try and keep the demand down. Now what they'll do is they'll pick the people who are using the most power and shut them off individually. So the more power you're using, the more likely you're going to get shut down. Zoning is exactly it. If you can isolate main living areas, if you have a living area that you live in a lot of the time, watching TV when you come home from work, and the family gathers in the room, watches TV for 4 hours, and don't use the rest of the house until they go to bed, apart from the kitchen, then zone that room off, seal the doors off, fit close-fitting curtains to the windows or pelmets or Roman blinds or something like that, and make that room comfortable, and also have an individual heating system for that particular room, which may be a 6-star energy efficient small gas wall furnace. And so you're only heating that room for the time that you're in there, rather than heating the whole house as you would with a gas ducted heating. Planning a building. important thing is north orientation. Maximise your glass area to the north. And if you've got a solar mass, whether you build on a slab or even if you build on stumps, if you've got the room tiled, in the case of, in both cases, then in winter you're going to get that winter sun coming into the room, heating up those tiles. That acts as a thermal mass, it stores the heat, and when the sun goes down and you close the curtains, it will re-radiate that heat back out again, and you minimise the amount of time that you've got to have the heater on. And I've seen this happen. Second thing, insulate everywhere. Insulate your ceiling, insulate your walls, and if you can, insulate your floor, especially if you build on stumps. And that gives you that nice thermal envelope. The other thing is no west windows, if possible, or minimise the amount of area on the west, because that is a natural source of heat in summer, and will cause a lot of heat through the house. Small windows on the south, or wherever your prevailing winds are, large windows on the north, and that will give you a massive cross-flow ventilation. And use double hung windows, not awnings. Last thing, use timber windows or thermally broken windows. Do not use just straight aluminium, because aluminium leaks heat faster than glass does. Eaves, yes, 600mm eaves is good. Around my house I've got 600mm eaves, but I've got full-length glass windows. So what I've done is I've actually battened out to 1200, and so the sun cuts out around November the 1st and doesn't come back into the windows again until about end of March. Can't answer that question, but it should be. The number of places I've been in doing assessing where the house has got insulated walls and insulated ceiling, and they've got minimal curtains or minimal window coverings in the room, and it's been the middle of winter and it's been so comfortable. You could almost walk around in short sleeves. I'm not a great believer in double glazing. I think it's an expensive option for what it is. Some recent studies have shown that 4mm low emissive or low E glass, tinted or clear, is probably far better in the southern states where you have a heating requirement. In the northern states where heating is not a requirement, low E tinted glass, 4mm and above, is probably a better option than double glazing, and a far cheaper option. High energy consumers. Number one, electric floor heating. No. They consume a hell of a lot of power. Second, beer fridges. People decide to be energy efficient. They put so they get a new fridge, put it in the kitchen. They then take the old fridge and stick it out in the garage, where on a 40-degree day it'll be 50 degrees in the shed. The compressor's working overtime, and I did a place a few weeks ago. I worked out his beer fridge, which was only that big, was costing him $500 a year because he had it outside under laser light facing west, and he had a six-pack in it. How much beer could he buy for $500?
A lot more than a six-pack.
Yes.